The Lesem Building, built in 1871, is a four-story brick commercial Italianate warehouse building. This style was a popular architectural style in America from 1850 through the early 1880s. It was one of the first commercial styles successfully built from manufactured materials. The style was at its peak in 1871 when the structure was built, which is evident in the extent of elements included in the design of this building. The overall symmetry, cast iron window surrounds, cast iron coins, brackets along the roofline, segmented arch window hoods, and elaborately decorated cornice with an inscription are all typical elements of an Italianate commercial structure. The coins and belt courses emphasize the formal balance of the style. Double-hung windows, originally 4 over 4 pane, are all tall and narrow, another common feature of an Italianate-style commercial building. An open pediment in the cornice adorns a carving that reads, "Erected by S.J. Lesem Brothers and Company, 1871." And to add elaboration, brick corbelling runs underneath the pediment and cornice. One of the original Corinthian cast-iron fluted columns remains exposed on the first floor, but the others were boxed in with brick in the early 1920s. Solomon and Isaac Lesem were born in Bavaria and came to Quincy in 1856 by way of St. Louis. The brothers immediately began their dry goods and clothing business in the area. In 1859, they were organized under the name of S.J. Lesem Brothers and Company, a dealer and manufacturer of dry goods. As their business prospered, they entered the wholesale business and moved to a new building. By 1871, they outgrew their building again and began construction on the current building. Isaac Lesem, a leader in the Jewish community, along with 3 other businessmen, including W.S. Warfield, purchased the lot in 1871 for $2,700 and agreed to break it down into 4 sections for the 4 owners, with an alley running in the back. The building on Block 14, Lot 1 of the original city of Quincy, was constructed for their S.J. Lesem Brothers Dry Goods Company. It was one of 4 commercial structures built at this time in the Italianate style on the block. During the 1870s, this block of 3rd Street was a thriving warehouse district known as Wholesale Row. A few years later, Solomon moved to New York to run the company's supply office, leaving Isaac in charge of the business in Quincy. By 1879, the company had expanded to include the upper stories of a neighboring building. At this time, they employed 30 men, including 8 salesmen. The company was renamed Isaac Lesem & Company in 1882, still dealing in wholesale dry goods. In 1887, Isaac Lesem & Company expanded into clothing manufacturing. They opened the Foxall factory on the 4th floor of the building. This business also began to grow, so in 1889, they purchased the building at the corner of 3rd and Vermont to expand. Isaac decided to retire in 1898 and sold the business 1 year before his death in 1899. Menke Dry Goods Company took over and continued at this location until 1914. In 1912, the Quincy Casket Company also moved into this building and continued to manufacture caskets and other funeral supplies here until 1977. Since then, a series of restaurants and taverns have occupied the space. The Catacombs first moved in, followed by Pinocchio Pasta House with Cricket's Comedy Club and Geppetto Lounge in 1980. They occupied the building until 1991, when the 3rd Street Bar and Grill took over. The current restaurant, Tiramisu, has operated in this location since 1996. The S.J. Lesem Building is locally significant as one of the most important examples of an Italianate-styled commercial building in the city of Quincy. In comparison to other Italianate buildings in Quincy, the S.J. Lesem Building stands out as one of the best examples of this style, and one of the few remaining Italianate commercial structures. It's the only remaining Italianate structure with this extent of cast-iron elements still intact. The S.J. Lesem Building is also the landmark structure of the city's once thriving warehouse district. The other Italianate buildings constructed along the Wholesale Road during this period no longer exist, leaving this building as the sole reminder of this series of structures. It is also significant for its association with Isaac Lesem, the leading figure in post-Civil War Jewish business community that shaped much of Quincy's early economic life. Now, because of this, the building was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1999. This Historic Quincy Business District podcast was produced by WGEM. Special thanks to the Gardner-Denver Museum of Architecture and Design, the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County, and Quincy Preserves for providing information. For more information, you can visit www.downtownquincy.com or walk to the HQBD office at 128 North 5th Street. I'm WGEM's Rich Kane.